Daniel from Spiel Portugal. I'm going to make a small review of Asgard. Welcome to this world. So this is the beautiful board of Asgard. Here we have the world tree, the center of the board, and then we have several worlds. They are 9. Each one of them has population tiles, here and here, for example, for each world. On the top we have Asgard. Here on the right we have gods. Each one of them represents several actions. I should talk about them later. Here we have seals. These are white gods. Means that they are representing the light side of the world. On the other half of the board we have the dark gods. They are also 5. Here in the bottom we have temple tiles, which we may build during the game. Here we have the weapons. They are important, the ancient weapons. Here we have battle victory points. Also on the top we have these discs which represent actions that players can get through the game. And here we have the cards. Each player gets one deck of 10 cards, and also the giants and the warriors. So Asgard is played in 5 turns. Each one of these turns has 4 phases. The first phase is selecting gods, choose gods. Each player starts the game with 10 god cards. Okay? So if I have, for example, at the start of the game I have 3 action discs, it means that I can choose 3 gods to place my influence in. Suppose that I am going to choose secretly these 3 gods here. It means that later, when everybody selects their cards, in player order 2, in the second phase, the select actions phase, I'm going to place my action discs in those boxes. Or, as an alternative, I can play here in Asgard. For example, Odin, here, I can place my action disc there, for example. Okay? For Balder, I can play here, which is the mean to build a temple in his honor. Here, for example, instead of playing in this god here, I can choose to play here in Asgard. So after every player places their own discs, we are going to solve the actions in the third phase of the turn, which is perform actions. So let's suppose that in the select actions phase, this is how the board looks like. Everyone has placed their discs, and now we're going to the perform actions phase. So in turn order, each player is going to remove one of his discs from the board, executing the action. For example, here on the top, let's suppose that the yellow player is the first one playing. He's going to take his disc from here, okay, which is a request slot, and here you can get 2 gems from this god, and also a minor favor here, and also the seal. The seal because he's going to be the first player executing the action here, so he has the right to the seal. That's why he chooses to go first here on this box, because red player is also here. Otherwise, if he opted to choose a different box, maybe this one in the lower board here, he could choose this one first. But then, since he had no competition here, maybe it's a stupid move. It's more logical to go first here, because turn order, it's very important in this phase. So this is the request slot. Every god, in principle, every god gives gems and a small favor. So let's suppose that now is the blue player playing and he chooses to execute this temple action. The temple action is different from the request slot. Here players don't get the seal even if they are the first one executing the action in the box. They also don't get the gems. They instead will build one temple, which are these buildings here. For example, blue player is going to build this temple here. He has 2 blue gems that is going to place here in the general supply, and he now is going to keep the temple to himself. After the action is taken, his disc goes now to this box here, which represents the support box for the end of the game, which I will explain later. This white warrior here means that the blue player has to pay all his white warriors that he has in his display. So he has 2, he has to place them here in order to execute the action. After that, he will get this god over here, and you will place it here in one of these population tiles over here, as long as it is on the light side of the world. So let's suppose that he's going to place it here. He now gets this population tile here, which is a special ability. Each one of these population tiles gives a special ability that each player can get. In the Asgard area, players can perform 2 actions. First thing, let's suppose that the blue player is playing now. First thing is to choose one of these tiles and face it down, getting the bonus. So this one here gets one warrior or 1 giant. After that, you can do 2 things. Buy more warriors, paying seals, or he can also buy action discs, also paying seals. Instead of doing this, he can participate in a battle. So you can choose one side, one world, and only one side, the dark side or the light side. Let's suppose that he's going to pick this one here. Okay, he gets 1 weapon, and at the end of the turn, so in the 4th phase of the turn, battles will be resolved, which I'm going to explain later. After the perform actions phase, we have the battles phase. In this example here, the blue player is going to fight in this world, and he has a 6, which he stands for, against a 2 from the dark side. We have to review ancient weapons, one for the light side, the other one for the dark side. We have to sum the values, 6 plus 4 against 2 plus 2. So we have 10 against 4. The blue player wins this battle for the light side. So he passes here to this side. His disc is going to be there for the rest of the game, and he's going to win Alorios later. Here, the yellow player in the world number 5 has the same ancient weapons there, and he's going to fight against the population. But since he is standing for a god, the population means 0. So he has 3 plus 4 against 2 only, because this one doesn't count. So he's going to win the battle too, and he also will get Alorios, and his disc is going to retain there. If a player loses a battle, the disc is going to the middle of the board, and the player can get it later in an Asgard action. The purple player here also has a battle. This is a different type of battle because it's a god against the other god. So you have 1 against a 1. You also sum up the ancient weapons. This means that the purple player is losing 5 against 3. He has 2 options. He can lose the battle, or he can, if he has, he can advance pieces, which is warriors or a giant. The giant is valued 2 points and the warriors 1 point each. So if he advances 3 against 5, if he advances these 4 points, he now has 7 points. He can win this battle. If he wins the battle, he also goes here, and this means that in the end of the round, the whole round, when all the battles are resolved, we can count the number of pieces that each player has on the board, which represent the number of battles that they won. So if a player has 1 disc in the board, he gets 3 victory points to himself. Okay? This means that at the end of the game, he will get these 3 victory points. If there are no pieces here, let's suppose that this is exhausted here, okay? So the other players don't get anything. The player who is on the back of the track of the victory points gets the pieces first. If there are no pieces, no points. If you have, for example, let's just say that blue player has 2 discs here, he gets 5 victory points instead of the 3. Okay, after the 5th turn, we have the great battle of the gods in the final of the game. So Ragnarok is going to happen. First things first, so we should remove all the discs from the battles, previous battles. They don't count anymore for the great final gods battle. And then we have to check if we have only population tiles in the table in each one of the worlds. So here we have gods, here we have only population tiles, so they are removed. Also from here, they are also removed. After this, we're going to check if we have single population tiles against gods. So here we have god against god, god against population tile. They're going to receive 1 ancient weapon. It is not disclosed until when it is resolved. So, and then we're going to check the supports of each god made from each player who previously built temples during the other turns. So here, for example, yellow player has 1 support action disc here, represented by purple god here, okay? And this warrior is also going to support the god. Here, the yellow god for the blue player and all the warriors. Here, Odin. Because there are 2 players here, okay, I didn't mention this, but let's go back a while. So this is first and second player. This is important, the order, okay? They're going to be here because the points in the end are going to be distributed as follow, okay? First player and second player if this god wins the final battle. Since there is no warriors here, nothing is going to be placed in that world. Here we also have purple and red, okay? Here with 3 warriors. Here we have the blue. Here we have the blue player 2 with a giant. Here we also have purple and yellow. with a giant too. And here we have red player with 2 warriors. Here we have blue player alone. So now we have the final Ragnarok battle. I'm going to show how these wars are going to be solved. So in the Valhalla place we have warriors that can be used to support gods that are in the light spaces of each world. In player order we can choose, for example, let's just say that yellow player is playing, so he chooses this warrior here to place here to support this god, and so on and so on. Let's just say that this is going to be kinda maybe weird, but like this. Okay? So, and now we have each world one battle, but also in player order supporters of their gods can place weapons that they earned before, and also these tiles here that can support their gods. So let's just say that we're going to place this one here, this weapon here, and this here, okay, just as an example. So we have a god with a 1 value against the 1 also, and this giant worth 2 points, this 3 points. So in principle this god here is going to win this battle because he has 4 points against only 3. But now these cards are revealed. This one says that each piece here worth double points, and here is a weapon of 2 points. So we have 1, 3, 6 against 4, 5. So this god here wins this war. Means that yellow and purple wins yellow 7 points, purple 2 points. So in every single world is solved like this. For example, here it's a different situation in where we have a population tile. In this specific battle, in the end, population tiles count against gods. So this ancient weapon is revealed. So we have a 9 here, and here, because we have 2 players and a lot of points, they place 2 weapons to support this god. So they have 8 plus 3, 11, 12, 14. 14 against 9, so they win the battle. 13 for the purple player, 11 points for the red player. If a player wins a battle alone, let's just suppose that red player was here alone, he wins 13 plus 11 points, which is major. You resolve all the battles and in all the worlds, and after that the player who has the most victory points wins the game. So what do we have to say about the game? This is a fairly good game. It's very dense, very strategic. It has lots of elements. A lot is going on during the game, but you have the feeling that you are building something towards the end. The final war, with all the gods involved, it's very relevant to the gameplay. Also very important is the action selection system, because timing is everything. So you choose your actions, but you not always get what you want to. It's very, very difficult to get, because you don't resolve the actions when you place the action discs. You only resolve them later, and the turn order is very relevant in order to do that. Also, the way that your actions grow, It's very important because you get more discs here, but you also lose them when you fight battles. And battles are relevant because you win lots of points and you get weapons to invest later in the great God's War. But this is very difficult to manage because I want to place lots of discs here, but if they are here, they are not with me, so I cannot perform lots of actions. That's what I like the most in the game. The artwork is amazing. I'm not a very huge fan of mythological themed games, but I have to say, honestly don't. But I understand the concept of the game, I understand the way it is made. So, congratulations to the publisher, of course. I think they have made a terrific job here, and they have my attention. So.